a WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Netherlands national football team. The Netherlands national football team represents the Netherlands in international football. It is controlled by the Royal Netherlands Football Association, the governing body for football in the Netherlands. The team is colloquially referred to as Het Nederlands Elftal and Oranje, after the House of Orange-Nassau. Like the country itself, the team is sometimes incorrectly referred to as Holland. The Dutch hold the record for playing the most FIFA World Cup finals without ever winning the tournament. They finished second in the 1974, 1978 and 2010 World Cups, losing to West Germany, Argentina and Spain respectively. However, they did win the UEFA European Championship in 1988. History. The Netherlands played their first international match in Antwerp against Belgium on the 30th of April 1905. The players were selected by a 5-member commission from the Dutch Football Association. After 90 minutes, the score was 1-1, but, because the match was for a trophy, the match went into extra time, during which Eddy de Neve scored 3 times, making the score 4-1 for the Netherlands. The Netherlands made their first appearance at the FIFA World Cup final tournament in 1934. After a second appearance in 1938. They did not appear in another World Cup until 1974. Total football in the 1970s. The 1970s saw the invention of total football, pioneered by Ajax and led by playmaker Johan Cruyff and national team head coach Rinus Michels. The Dutch made significant strides, qualifying for 2 World Cup finals in the decade. The captain of the Brazilian team that won the 1970 FIFA World Cup, Carlos Alberto, went on to say, "The only team I've seen that did things differently was Holland at the 1974 World Cup in Germany. Since then everything looks more or less the same to me. Their carousel style of play was amazing to watch and marvelous for the game." In 1974, the Netherlands beat both Brazil and Argentina in the second group stage, reaching the final for the first time in their history. However, the team lost to West Germany in the final in Munich, despite having gone 1-0 up through Johan Neeskens' early penalty kick before a German had even touched the ball. However, a converted penalty by Paul Breitner and the winner from Gerd Müller led to a victory for the Germans. By comparison, Euro 76 was a disappointment. The Netherlands lost in the semi-finals to Czechoslovakia, as much because of infighting within the squad and the coach George Noble, as well as the skill of the eventual winners. In 1978, the Netherlands again reached the final of a World Cup, only to be beaten by hosts Argentina. This side played without Johan Cruyff, Willem van Hanegem and Jan van Beveren, who refused to participate in the World Cup. Nonetheless, it still contained Johan Neeskens, Johnny Rep, Arie Haan, Ruud Krol, Wim Jansen, Jan Jongbloed, Wim Soerbeer, and Rob Rensenbrink. From the 1974 selection, the Netherlands were less impressive in the group stages. They qualified as runners-up, after a draw with Peru and a loss to Scotland. However, in the second group phase, the Netherlands topped a group including Italy and West Germany, setting up a final with Argentina. The Dutch finished as runners-up for the second World Cup in a row as they ultimately lost 3-1 after 2 extra-time goals from Argentina. Rensenbrink hit the Argentinian post in the last minute of normal time, with the score 1-1. Failure, 1982-86. Euro 80 was the last tournament for which the total football team qualified, but they did not advance past the group stage. Despite the tournament format being expanded that year, veterans such as Krol and Rensenbrink retired soon afterwards, and the Dutch team hit a low point in their history. They missed the 1982 World Cup in Spain, Euro 1984 in France, and the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. Qualification for Euro 1984 was within reach, but the Dutch ended the campaign on the same number of points as rival Spain, and the same goal difference. Spain advanced having scored 2 more goals. The failure to reach the 1986 World Cup was also very close. In a play-off with neighbours Belgium, the Netherlands lost 1-0 in Brussels, but were leading 2-0 in the home leg in Rotterdam, with a few minutes remaining. Belgium scored to end the tie 2-1, and overall play-off 2-2. Belgium advanced on the away goals rule. European champions. Rinus Michels returned, with his technical assistant Joris van Beek, to coach the team for Euro 1988 in West Germany. After losing the first group match against the Soviet Union, the Netherlands qualified for the semi-final by defeating England 3-1, and the Republic of Ireland. For many Dutch football supporters, the most important match in the tournament was the semi-final against West Germany, the host country, considered a revenge for the lost 1974 World Cup final. Van Basten scored in the 89th minute to sink the German side. The Netherlands won the final with a victory over the USSR through a header by Ruud Gullit and a volley by Van Basten. This was the national team's first major tournament win, and it restored them to the forefront of international football for the next 3 years after almost a decade in the wilderness. Despite high expectations as the team entered the 1990 World Cup in Italy, the tournament was not a success, as strife within the squad and managerial instability ultimately tore the team apart. Van Basten failed to score, as he was in poor form and tightly marked by opposing defenders, while Gullit was ineffective, having not fully recovered from injury. The Dutch managed to advance despite drawing all 3 group games, meeting their arch-rivals West Germany in the round of 16. The match is most remembered for the spitting incident involving Frank Rijkaard and Rudi Voller as the Netherlands lost 2-1. The team reached the semi-finals in the Euro 1992 in Sweden, which was noted for the emergence of Dennis Bergkamp, but they were eliminated by eventual champions Denmark, with Van Basten's kick in the penalty shootout being saved by Peter Schmeichel. This was to be Van Basten's last major tournament, as he suffered a serious ankle injury shortly after, eventually conceding defeat and retiring at age 30 in 1995. It was also the last hurrah for Rinus Michels, who returned for one final spell in charge of the team before retiring for good after the tournament ended. Dick Advocaat took over from Michels on the understanding that he himself would be replaced by Johan Cruyff the following year, although Advocaat actually stayed in charge for over 2 years. In the 1994 World Cup in the United States, in the absence of the injured Van Basten and the striking Gullit, Dennis Bergkamp led the team with 3 goals and the Netherlands advanced to the quarter-finals, where they lost 3-2 to eventual champions Brazil. Golden Generation, 1996-2014. At Euro 1996, after drawing with Scotland and beating Switzerland, the Dutch faced the hosts England in the Group A decider, and lost 4-1, with Patrick Kluivert's late consolation enough to finish second on goals scored. They then played France in the quarter-finals, and lost on penalties. In the 1998 World Cup, a Dutch team including Mark Overmars, Philip Cocu, Edgar Davids, Frank de Boer, Ronald de Boer, and Kluivert met Argentina in the quarter-final and won 2-1, before losing on penalties to Brazil and in the third-place play-off to Croatia. Soon afterwards, manager Guus Hiddink signed to be replaced by Frank Rijkaard. The Netherlands co-hosted Euro 2000 with Belgium, and won all 3 wins in the group stage and then defeated FR Yugoslavia 6-1 in the quarter-finals. In the semi-finals, Italian goalkeeper Francesco Toldo made 2 penalty shootout saves to eliminate the Netherlands. The Netherlands failed to qualify for the 2002 World Cup after crucial losses to Portugal and the Republic of Ireland, prompting manager Louis van Gaal to resign. Dick Advocaat returned to coach the Netherlands for a second time. In his first match, a 1-0 win over Spain on the 27th of March 2002, the Netherlands won the unofficial Football World Championships. In addition, on the 21st of August, the Netherlands won Aziz-Baton, defeating Norway 1-0, unifying for the first time the 2 trophies. He led the team to the semi-finals of Euro 2004, where they lost to hosts Portugal. The Netherlands qualified for the 2006 World Cup under new manager Marco van Basten, and were eliminated in the second round after losing 1-0 to Portugal, in a match which produced 16 yellow cards and set a new World Cup record of 4 red cards. It was nicknamed the Battle of Nuremberg by the press, despite criticism surrounding his selection policy and the lack of attacking football from his team. Van Basten was offered a 2-year extension to his contract by the KNVB, which would allow him to serve as national coach during Euro 2008 and the 2010 World Cup. The Netherlands qualified for Euro 2008, where they were drawn in the Group of Death together with France, Italy, and Romania. They began with a 3-0 win over world champions Italy in Bern, a first victory over the Italians since 1978. However, they then lost in the quarter-finals to Gushidding's Russia 3-1, with Ruud van Nistelrooy scoring an 86th-minute equalizer to force extra time, where the Russians scored twice. Following the tournament, Van Basten resigned to become manager of Ajax. Under new coach Bert van Marwijk, the Dutch went on to secure a 100% record in their World Cup 2010 qualification campaign to qualifying for the World Cup. In the quarter-finals against Brazil, the Brazilians held a 1-0 lead at half-time, having never lost in 37 World Cup matches in which they had held a half-time lead. However, the Dutch scored twice to advance. In the semi-final, the Dutch beat Uruguay 3-2 to advance to their first World Cup final since 1978, where they would fall to Spain 1-0 after midfielder Andrés Iniesta scored in extra time. From August to September 2011, the team was ranked number 1 in the FIFA World Rankings, therefore becoming the second national football team, after Spain, to top the rankings without previously winning a World Cup. For Euro 2012, the Netherlands were placed in Group B alongside with Germany, Portugal, and Denmark, dubbed the tournament's Group of Death. The Netherlands lost all 3 of its matches. Johan Cruyff criticized the team's star players of poor build-up play and sloppy execution of the easy passes, while manager Bert van Marwijk resigned after the disappointment. Louis van Gaal then became manager for the second time. In the 2014 World Cup UEFA qualifying round, the Netherlands won 9 games and drew 1, topping the group and earning automatic qualification. They were drawn into Group B, alongside Spain, Chile, and Australia. The team avenged their 2010 defeat by defeating title holders Spain 5-1 in their opening match, with Robin van Persie and Arjen Robben scoring 2 goals each, and Stefan de Vrij the other. After the Dutch fell behind 1-0 from conceding a penalty, Van Persie equalized just before half-time, with an acrobatic diving header that gave him the nickname, the Flying Dutchman. The Netherlands defeated Mexico 2-1 in the round of 16, with Wesley Sneijder equalizing late in the match, and Klaas-Jan Huntelaar scoring a controversial penalty after a foul on Arjen Robben in stoppage time. In the quarter-finals, where they faced Costa Rica, the Dutch had many shots on goal, but could not score, with the match finishing in a 0-0 draw after extra time. The Netherlands won the ensuing penalty shootout 4-3 in large part due to backup goalkeeper Tim Krul, who was brought on just before the end of extra time and made 2 saves, marking the first time in World Cup history a goalkeeper was brought onto the field solely to participate in a shootout. In the semi-final against Argentina, the Netherlands had a good chance to score from Arjen Robben while managing to contain Lionel Messi, and both teams finished scoreless after extra time. However, in penalty kicks, the Dutch were eliminated 4-2, with Ron Vlaar and Wesley Sneijder having their spot kicks saved by Sergio Romero. The Netherlands won a third-place match against hosts Brazil. Van Gaal, who successfully motivated the team after their semi-final knockout, received praise for getting more out of the young and inexperienced Netherlands squad than many expected. He left to become manager of Manchester United. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?